How much can you earn having a teaching certificate or a diploma or a degree? How do those pieces of paper actually make you money? That's what we're talking about in today's video. And it's a really important topic because so many people have been talking about this recently and saying that unfortunately these pieces of paper aren't worth very much. Maybe not even worth the money and time that you invest into getting them. But before we jump into it, let me remind you that over at teachingrevolution.com, you can learn how to sell the knowledge you already have to people who need it so that you can get more clients online and you can start or grow your own teaching business. Starting your own business is not for everyone. And that's why we're talking about teaching certificates, diplomas, degrees. And unfortunately, there are a lot of people who find themselves in the position of owing a lot of money. They've taken out student loans, and those student loans, they end up paying back the rest of their lives. And this is something that's been happening for multiple generations. So it's not new, but in the recent past, a lot of billionaires and public figures have come out and said, we don't actually think university, college is worth it. Why do they say that, right? Why do they say that? And you as a teacher, a tutor, an expert, a coach, a consultant, whatever you call yourself, whatever label you give yourself, probably there is some kind of organization out there or institution that says you should have one of these special pieces of paper that says that you can actually do the job, right? And sure, there are some workplaces, especially if you work in the government or for a public school or something like that, they require you to have special pieces of paper, right? They usually call it a qualification. But if you've met people who have these pieces of paper, and if you've been on the job in any of those places, you know 100%, some people still are not qualified after they have the piece of paper, and some people are qualified who do not have them. What is the point? Today I want to talk about that because you really need to understand a deeper concept to understand how much you can earn from having these pieces of paper. What are certificates, diplomas, and degrees? These are just indicators of knowledge and skill. That's what they're supposed to be, right? But really, they're trust signals. It's like a shortcut, right? To tell people that they should trust your knowledge, your expertise. Unfortunately, it doesn't really work that way. As we said already, there are a lot of people who are still unqualified who have them, and there are a lot of qualified people who don't have them. It's very important for me to tell you today in this video that a trust signal is very different from what the market needs, wants, desires, and most importantly, is ready to pay for. You see, the market does not pay you for your certificate. It does not pay you for that trust signal. The trust signal can help strengthen the trust, and that can help to make decisions happen faster or to help people navigate those decisions, right? In some cases, like getting a job in certain places, or some customers, they value those pieces of paper and they think that they're necessary. And so for those places, you have a much higher chance of, first of all, getting the job or closing the deal, but also of making more money in that place than someone who doesn't have it. Now, we need to back up for a second because we're really limiting ourselves when we even put it in that context. Because this trust signal is dependent upon many other things, right? So every time that we talk about certificates, degrees, diplomas, we're talking about a certain context already that is within a market situation. And in the market, there's someone who is attracting customers and clients and making a promise to them. And then there's somebody who's delivering those services, and it's not always the same person. In fact, it's very rarely the same person, because the person who is able to set up all of these processes and systems, finding clients, taking payment, and then organizing the delivery of the service or product, that person usually isn't going to be stuck in product delivery. Whereas the person who holds the paper usually will be, because the paper is related to delivering the service itself. That means that the person holding the paper is already sentencing themselves to lower market value than the person who goes after the actual market signals, the indicators of market success, which are different from trust signals, okay? So A certificate is dependent upon an organization or a group of people or even a country. It's dependent upon other groups of people to say that, yes, we want this thing. So let me make this a little clearer. A teaching certificate or diploma or degree means absolutely nothing if there are no people who want to buy that service. First of all, what you're doing when you get those pieces of paper is that you are subordinating yourself into this system where you are dependent upon it continuing to work. You're dependent upon the demand of the market, right? You are a supplier of a service, a professional service to the market, and that depends on there being demand. When demand disappears, then supply doesn't matter anymore because nobody wants it. What you're doing is you're providing supply. You're not monopolizing supply, right? You're not taking control of supply. You're just one supplier of many. And so this is another problem because it's like this is just a commodity. It's just a regular service that's out there. And the fact that there is a certificate program or a degree or diploma means that it's highly commoditized usually. So the person who is able to corner the demand side of the market almost always will make more money than the person who corners the supply part of the market, because demand can be driven up, it can fall down, right? It can be taken out. Now, sure, there are situations where there's very, very, very high demand and there's low supply. And in that case, you'll make a lot of money being a supplier, but you still will not make as much money as the person who is connecting the demand with the supply. And so that's why even if you're going to get a teaching certificate or degree or diploma or any kind of other certification or piece of paper that says that you do something, even if you do that, you are subordinated. You're a level lower than the people who are controlling the system at the higher levels. And so that's really important to understand, because so many people who call themselves teachers, experts, coaches, consultants, they come to me and they say, I can't start thinking about getting clients. I can't start thinking about having my own business or selling my services myself. I can't be in control of my own future, basically, they're saying, until I finish this certification program. And that's just crazy to me. Why on earth would you do that? Why would you say that you're going to make yourself more dependent on something that's out of your control and you would not take control of it? So that's why I'm a very big proponent of, even if you have those qualifications, like I've done that. I got the teaching certificate. I got the diplomas, the degrees. I did all of that, right? That's why I'm speaking about this from experience. It's not a hypothetical, theoretical thing. Okay? I'm telling you this because I know what it's like to be in that situation. And a lot of people come to me. It's almost every day right now. People send me emails, people go to our website, they book a call with me, and we talk, and they say, well, you know what? I'm busy right now doing a teaching certificate. I'm busy right now finishing this diploma or this degree or a coaching program or a consulting program. They say like, well, then I'll have this piece of paper that will say that I'm officially a coach. I'll have this piece of paper that says I'm officially a consultant in this area. And then I can go get clients. And that's just not the right way to think about it at all. I understand that a lot of people are thinking about the education side first and not so much about the business side and the marketing side and the sales side. If you're not inclined in that way, that's fine. But those are things that you have to learn how to do if you want to survive, because otherwise you're always a victim to other situations and circumstances. Even if you go get a job and you're not interested in business at all, you have a business. You're selling and you're marketing. You're selling and marketing yourself to an employer. You're always in business, okay? You're always doing business, marketing, sales. You're always doing those things, whether you like it or not, whether you want to admit it or not. Okay, whether you think you're good at it or not. So that's why it's time right now to decide to learn those skills, to be really, really good at those skills, and to use them in whatever situation you decide to be in. Today, talking about certificates and pieces of paper like this, just try to understand the role that has in the larger system. A lot of people get stuck there. They think that that is the answer, that they're going to make a lot more money by having more qualifications. But you can only be qualified in something that's already controlled. It's controlled by someone else, not you. They get more control by having people like you who go out there and depend on these certifications and on the future outcomes that they promise. So many of those certification programs, it's sad, so many of them promise you better work prospects, right? They promise you higher income. 8, 9 out of 10 of the people that I've talked to, and this is people with engineering degrees. This is people who have studied physics. This is people who thought that they were going to have the easy way out. These are computer science majors, these are programmers. No matter where you look, there are people who depend on degrees and certifications and qualifications. The expectations are always higher than the reality. We're talking about supply, and there are many, many suppliers of this service, of this work that you are selling to an employer. The employer can only exist if there's enough demand. And that's rewarded a lot more. So the employer is getting rewarded much, much more. You're making a fraction of the money that's being paid for that service because you're not finding the clients yourself. Think of it that way. There's a reason that someone else is telling you to go get qualified. Do you want to be the person who is always stuck in that loop? Always chasing the job and trying to prove yourself? Or can you just do it and let that be the proof? Because that's what they're doing. So when people come to teachingrevolution.com and we have a call or we talk or they join our community or whatever level of help they need, that's what we talk about. We say, look, you're already an expert. You're already qualified. You already know some stuff. And let's start from that point that you already have information and knowledge and skills. And let's talk about how we're going to monetize that. Let's talk about how we're going to get more out of that, more return out of the investments you've already made, because you already have the knowledge and the skills. You just need to sell it to the people who need it and not let other people take that role and cut you out. So you can make significantly more if you take control and you don't just rely on your qualifications. Remember, those are just trust signals, and someone has to buy into the system. If people lose faith in the system, then it means nothing. Instead, look at the market signals. Look at the indicators that guide supply and demand. And that's a winning combination right there. So that's all I have for this video. Click the link under this video if you want to get our help. And otherwise, I'll see you in the next one.